What? You're going in labor? Stop. I cannot help you right now. Just 1 second. You're going into labor? And you think it's my job as a nurse to help you. So you think just because I took an oath and a pledge to help those in need, especially for medical assistance, you think I'm supposed to help you? Okay, calm down. I will call the doctor. I will page him. Right when I'm trying to eat lunch. Doctor, we've got a black woman in the lobby who claims that she's in labor and she's going to give birth. Oh my God. Will you stop? Stop screaming. Plenty of women give birth every day. Between you and me, the father's probably a black man named Daggeries or Tyrell.
If you are someone who takes care of human beings in a healthcare environment, I need you to listen the hell up. I just watched another video of a black woman being dismissed in active labor and having a baby 8 minutes later. It is disgusting to watch, but finally people are paying attention. This is an article that was written 2.5 years ago. I talked about how if you are a nurse who says shit like, I'm colorblind, I don't see color, I treat all my patients equally, that you are part of the problem. You are actively contributing to harm because your passive silence is active violence. So you might not be the nurse that does the side eye to a laboring black woman, but you won't be the person to speak up when something is wrong. You'll be the nurse just following doctor's orders, just pushing the patient to the car. But if you are the kind of nurse who cannot recognize that a patient's skin color, one of the most obvious things about them, puts them at a 3 times greater risk of death, what are we doing? I'm going to explain to you why equality should never be a goal in healthcare. Our goal should be equity. I'm going to use a photo that's often used to explain this, but I'm going to explain why it doesn't work on our scenario and give you a better example. So this is what equity means, okay? We're not giving everyone the exact same thing because giving everyone the exact same thing will still end with people having bad outcomes. We have to recognize the specific needs of our patient and give them exactly what they need to be successful or to live or to not be traumatized when they come into a hospital. Here's why this doesn't work when we're talking about black women. This puts the problem or the onus within the body of that person. So I do presentations for nurses and talk about the importance of speaking up when it might feel scary to protect our patients from birth trauma, harm, or death. And in this presentation, I made this graphic, which shows 2 equally heighted women in 2 different environments in the same place. This woman's ancestors were enslaved women who were experimented on by a monster named James Marion Sims and called it gynecology, given procedures without anesthesia because they thought black women could not feel pain. Even in my nursing books, in the culture section, it talked about how black women have a higher pain tolerance. In order to improve outcomes for this patient, we have to either repair the ground underneath her or move her to a safer location. We have to change her environment. And when it comes to birth, there's a lot of well-meaning advocates who say, this is why you should have a home birth. No, that should never have to be the answer. We have to make birthing in a hospital while black safer. And it starts by treating your black patients differently. Stop being personally offended if they don't inherently trust you because you're wearing a badge and scrubs, because they've likely experienced mistreatment from someone who looks an awful lot like you. It's why my 9-year-old doesn't fuck with bees. He got stung by a bee, and even though there are going to be millions of bees who don't sting him, He will never trust a bee, and I don't blame him, because every bee has the opportunity to hurt him. We know that Black women are less likely to be listened to, so knowing that, how would you approach a patient who you knew was at a higher risk of not being listened to? Would you pull up a stool and hang on every word she says? Would you make a promise to listen to her? Would you echo her wants and desires louder to the other people on the care team? Would you act immediately if she says something is wrong? Or would you brush it off and say you're fine? But most importantly, are you willing to speak up against your coworkers, against people you may consider to be your friends, when something is not right? If even half of the healthcare workers in this country made a pact to never allow this type of behavior to exist in our orbit, we could make things better. But it counts on you holding up your end of the deal, to treat your Black patients differently, to never be silent in the face of injustice, and to always be on the lookout for ways that you can help your patients feel heard.
Hi guys, it's your girl Bleezy and you're welcome back to Bleezyunfiltered channel. And if you're joining us for the first time, we appreciate you. You are welcome. Listen, if you ever thought medical racism was an exaggeration, think again. Another video circulating online, and this time is white nurses openly talking about how Black women are being treated inside hospitals, and what they said is disturbing. So guys, join me as we get into more videos.
I just watched something that absolutely disgusted me. As a former ER nurse and a current labor and delivery nurse, I usually try to seek the best intent of a nurse. Not today. Not today. Because barring you having a medical emergency yourself, where your legs, your arms, and your voice no longer work, there is zero excuse for the blatant neglect that I just watched. And as a reminder, Black women are 3 times as likely to die in and around childbirth than their white counterpart. Part of that is because they are not believed about their pain. How you can sit there on the computer and act like you don't notice that this woman is actively birthing beside you is crazy town to me. Unacceptable, inexcusable. And if you've got coworkers who you watch do something like that, you are just as culpable.
Go on back in the building, man. We got it.
I'm gonna wait right here with my boyfriend.
All right.
You can go ahead and turn your phone off too, please.
I can record. I'm in a public place.
That's fine. That's fine. All right.
Yeah, look at the treatment.
Now, this is the same lady, that red-haired lady. That is the same lady. Her name is LaCrystal Vaughn.
I just saw a video of the most blatant medical racism I have ever seen. I'm gonna insert a clip of it. Warning, it is very disturbing.
When's your due date?
Right now.
Is your due date? What?
That woman is in agony. Agony. And that nurse kept her in the waiting room for 30 minutes answering questions. She could have been answering those from the bed.
Y'all treat all your patients like this or just the Black ones?
Clock it. A little bit about me. I'm terrified of giving birth. Ever since I was a little girl, I was like, oh, I want to be a mom. I have always been terrified of pregnancy and childbirth. And now as an adult, I'm even more terrified because I know that the U.S. has one of the highest maternal mortality rates of any developed nation. And the maternal mortality rate for Black women is 3 times higher. 3 times higher. It's like 14 for white women and it's around 50 for Black women. That's insane. And this is exactly why. This is exactly why. Because Black women's pain is not taken seriously. They're not given the treatment that they need.
She got 3 pregnancies, 2 babies at home.
She's done this before. She knows what labor feels like.
I bet y'all listen next time.
You can clearly tell not only that this woman is in active labor, but also that she is in agony. Okay? I am not a nurse. And I'm so squeamish, I once saw a man get bucked off of a horse at a rodeo and I went into shock. I kid you not. But if there was a woman actively laboring in front of me, guess what? I would seek medical care. I would lay her down. Okay? I'd be holding her hand, rubbing her back, giving her sips of water, whatever she needed, because that's how you treat another fucking human being. Okay? People have been saying that nurse lost her job. Good. Bare minimum. Now she might lose her license. Good. She better. And I'm so glad that the woman that was with the mama recorded it. because nobody would have believed her. That's insane, even though we should be used to this, unfortunately. 2, they need to sue that nurse for all she is fucking worth, because that wasn't just neglect, that was maltreatment. Because as a nurse with training and the ability to get her care, the way that she did not even turn and look at her as this woman was screaming and crying, saying that she could feel her baby. That baby came out 12 minutes later. That's like 2 pushes. Like, absolutely abhorrent. Racism is ugly. Like, it's just fucking ugly.
I'm well aware that what I'm about to say could get me in a lot of trouble, but I think it's important enough to say. I'm a labor and delivery nurse, and I treat my Black patients differently. I've seen nurses, especially labor and delivery nurses, online saying things like, I'm colorblind, I don't treat my patients any differently, meaning that they don't treat their Black patients worse than they treat their white patients. And here's why it's not enough to be a colorblind nurse in 2023. Because I know that in my specialty, labor and delivery, Black women are more likely than any other race to be harmed in pregnancy, childbirth, and beyond. The US is the worst place to have a baby if you're Black in the developed world. Why is this not happening anywhere else? Systemic racism. If you don't believe me, just Google James Marion Sims. So not only are Black women not believed about their pain, not believed about their symptoms, but also they may put off getting something checked out because they don't trust medical providers for good reason.
At this point, I'm pretty sure everybody has seen the video of the Black woman who's in active labor and she's being ignored. And I'm just going to say this. As someone who's worked in the emergency room for years and has worked at numerous hospitals, I can confidently tell you that that is not protocol. When patients come in and they're in active labor, our main priority is getting you to labor and delivery, because we are not trying to deliver babies unnecessarily in the ER. We want to get you to where the nurses are specialized in labor and delivery and where there are resources to make sure that you deliver safely. So to watch that woman be in active labor and be asked questions about who her doctor is, when is her due date, to be ignored, to look at a nurse that won't even look at her, I think it was completely disheartening. And this is a clear case of medical racism. And when we are taught that Black women are 3 times more likely to die during birth than our white counterparts, this is why, because of these types of biases. This is exactly why Black women have the highest mortality rate in the country, because we are not believed, because we are not prioritized, because we are dismissed. As a Black nurse, this hurt me 10 times more, because this is why I am in healthcare, because I want to protect people that look like me from going through situations like this. This is why representation matters. Above all else, I am extremely happy that the patient and her baby are alive and they are being monitored closely. But this is why when my counterparts at work tend to say, oh, I don't see color when I'm taking care of patients, I just take care of everybody the same, I always correct them and I say, no, you should see color. You should see color. The statistics show that you should see color. People tend to not care. And this is a clear case of why I am in healthcare.
I cannot believe what I'm reading, and I refuse to let this one go under the rug. So this is a nurse in Virginia. She's 26 years old. Her name is Erin Stratman. Now, she was just charged with malicious wounding and felony child abuse. She was intentionally breaking the bones of Black newborns in the NICU. Now, these babies were already fragile. They're fighting for their lives in intensive care, and the mothers trusted staff to take care of their newborn children. And she betrayed that trust in the most horrific way imaginable. So back in November, doctors discovered that 3 newborns had just unexplainable fractures. And this is not even her first time doing this, because back in 2023, 4 babies in the same NICU had unexplained fractures as well. So that's 7 Black babies with unexplained broken bones in the same NICU. And one baby in particular, this is Noah. Noah was born premature. So then the parents noticed that not only was his leg discolored, but then he just stopped moving his leg altogether. And when Noah got an x-ray, they showed that he had a fracture. And can you imagine, the parents were so afraid to hold their own baby because they didn't want to be accused of child abuse. And one mother even lost her baby. And I just have so many questions. Why wasn't this caught sooner? Did you purposely get a job at a NICU? And how did this go on for over a year? And why aren't you getting charged with a hate crime? You targeted 7 Black babies, some of the most vulnerable lives in our community. And to make it clear, she was denied bond, but that's not enough. The family needs answers. The families deserve justice, and we not finna just let this one go. Now, these babies can't speak for themselves, but we can. My heart goes out to the families involved, and I just pray that you get justice.
This is why we keep saying that racism is not a personal project, but has detrimental effects on everyday lives of people. I don't know how else to introduce this topic, but I'm just going to show you the article. Sorry. A NICU nurse named Erin Strothman was arrested and now faces accusations that she intentionally broke the bones of Black babies in the NICU. This story, reported by the Washington Post, said the concerns about Strothman allegedly started 2 years ago, in 2023, when doctors and personnel started noticing unexplained injuries in the newborns in their neonatal intensive care unit. Now the hospital says it's reviewing hundreds of hours of surveillance, reviewing the cases of these 7 infants. This entire case was reopened due to the work of Dominic Hackey and his family, whose twin boys were born 28 weeks premature. One of those babies had a weird fracture in his leg. Hackey's mother, who happens to be a NICU nurse, found that wound suspicious and called Child Protective Services. But even after a full year of investigation, no suspects were found. During Strothman's arraignment, it was found out that one of the babies suffered 12 fractures. 12 fractures. And yes, while fractures do happen in the birthing process, medical experts can sound off, but there's a big difference between the fractures that typically happen during birth and fractures that this child had inflicted upon them. Now, at this point, we've only gotten to the arrest of Erin Strothman, and all of these allegations are still just that, allegations. If this is true, this is just a further point to undergird how dangerous, how detrimental, how horrid racism can be for the Black community. There are few beings more vulnerable than a newborn baby, and the lack of care and the monstrous need to inflict undue pain upon these vulnerable beings, if it's due to racism, there's no words. There's no words. And these are the people who are in our medical profession, the people who are supposed to be taking care of us and are most vulnerable. I personally will be keeping an eye on this story, but if this is all true, it's monstrous.
I didn't want an MRI. I said I wanted a CT scan. Of what? Of why I came here on my knees. If you were looking at the discharge paper, it says it right there. Oh my goodness, yes, got it. So, if you're going to refuse services, you are going to be liable for if anything happens to me as a doctor. Okay. That sounds reasonable. Because that's what exactly. Okay. And I said, can you just please put it in writing? Because this is the second time I've come back here. After I followed the directions after the first time I come back here. Did you go to the orthopedic? No, she never followed up. No. They didn't follow that. You weren't in the office when they told me. I followed the directions. Their directions said in 2 weeks. You told us that. Exactly. So if no, I didn't tell us that. I didn't tell you that. You're lying. You did. You're literally lying. What's your name? Are you sure? You are recording. Back up. Back up. Back up, back up, back up. You don't get to put your hands on me, or you don't get to touch my belongings. I'm recording. Call the cops. She just tried to put her hands on me. So she didn't. Yes, she did. Okay. She did. So let's get you. Are you gonna lie too? Listen, I'm not going anywhere until you call the police. But I asked the doctor. Okay. Yes, I am recording because this is malpractice. This is the second time that I've been here, and they're sending me home without doing anything. You're not servicing me correctly. Okay. And she just tried to put her hands on me. And you've seen that. And it's on video. And I went like this and said, back up. Don't lie, it's all on video. She got up and tried to charge.
They talked about how Black women don't feel pain like others. They joked about ignoring complaints. They admitted they assumed they were strong enough to handle pains. They were strong enough to handle anything. And this is the same mindset that has been killing Black mothers for decades. Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die during childbirth than white women. Not because their bodies are broken, but because the system is broken. When nurses start saying the quiet part out loud, that tells you everything. It's not just one hospital, not one state, it's a pattern. So to all the Black women listening, your pain is real, your voice is valid, and you deserve care, not bias, not disrespect. And to the nurses who think this behavior is funny or normal, trust me, the world is watching now. Stay loud, stay away and protect each other, because clearly the system won't do it for us. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is your girl Bleezyunfiltered, and will keep on saying the truth with no fear. See you guys in my next video. Bye.